In this session, I'm going to show you how to set up your point of sale printer. So the first thing you have to do is install that printer driver on your operating system or within your operating system, which in this case will most likely be Windows. Making sure that it's the latest driver and that you test the printer there, knowing it prints, communicates with the software correctly. Then in iQ, first of all, you go to Utilities, Setup, Printer Setup, and under the POS receipt printer, you select the specific printer. Then you click on Save. Then we're going to go to Point of Sale POS Setup and Hardware Setup. Here you make sure that your till number is correct. You select your printer. Then you've got your POS cutoff string. This is the string that will cut the paper. This is, in other words, the command that is sent to the printer to cut the printer. This is normally default to this specific printer type that you have. So make sure that you have the string correct. Then the next option, lines before cut. In other words, I said that it must leave 3 lines open before it actually cuts the paper. I will explain pole display and the cash draw in another session. All that is now left for us to do is to click on the printer test option. Now I hope you can hear my printer test running. I'm going to click on printer test and I'm going to say yes. And I can click on OK. I hope you heard that. I now have my printer test page in my hand. It basically displays my header and my footer detail that I've created under slip details. Then the second option we can look at here is the cutting of the printer. You can click on printer cut test. Let's hope you hear this. And then OK. In other words, both my test options were successful. My printer, when it was cutting the paper, just moved 3 lines and it then cut the paper. Making very sure that what you've selected here is correct, and that if your printer is not printing here correctly, you might have to change your designs out of, or the designs in iQ, from a Windows design to a DOS layout. Another place where you can test, if we click on Finish here, where you can go, is to Point of Sale View Cells, and then select a cell here. You say Report and Print, and it will then, let me actually send it to the printer directly. We'll say Print instead of Preview, and that will also print the cell for you. If this does not print correctly, then you might have to consider changing it from a Windows layout to a DOS layout, because that means your printer is not able to understand all the advanced commands being sent. Remember, there is an option under Company Details that you can also switch on to make your printing easier. So I said Utilities, Setup, Company Details. Under Default Settings 1, Disable .matrix Advanced Printing. My option was on. If I switch it off, more advanced information might be sent to my printer, and that may cause erratic or irregular printing. So make sure that your setup is correct and that the printer works before you start with your transactions or before you start with your sales. And that concludes the explanation on printers.